Welcome back to Open Window Politics. Today we're going to be going through my Senate prediction for 2024. We'll be working with the interactive map for the contested states in 2024 on the Senate level. And there's a couple states to characterize here. The safe, lean, and likely seats have already been characterized. In this case, the only likely for the Democrats being Virginia, and for the Republicans, they've got a couple like Texas, Florida, and West Virginia. And even just with that, we already are seeing a flip in the Senate. That seat is currently held by Joe Manchin. So in the likely case that a Republican wins, it would be a flip for the Republican Party. And then we'll start off going east to west. We'll start out with Ohio. And Ohio currently is Sherrod Brown is their senator. And I do not see him winning again. I think Republicans have done really well in Ohio, and I likely see that trend continuing. I don't think it'll be a huge blowout margin, but I do think it'll be a somewhat close race, with eventually the Republican candidate winning the race. It also is very dependent on who gets nominated. Whether or not it's a more moderate candidate will play an important role in how the election goes. And that's going to be the case for several of these, because in the 2022 Senate elections, Trump's nominees didn't end up doing very well. So it depends on who gets nominated quite a bit for how these races end up. These are just general characterizations before the primary elections. So next up, we've got Montana, and this is currently a Democratic seat, but I do think that it'll likely go to the Republicans by a very small margin. I think Matt Rosendale is likely going to narrowly beat Jon Tester. I do think it'll be close, but I do think that if he were the candidate or another, there aren't too many candidates I can think of on the Republican side that would lose this election, and it seems like Matt Rosendale is currently one of the favorites on the Republican side. So with that, it brings the Republicans up to 51 seats in the Senate. This was a map that was clearly beneficial to the Republicans in a year that's probably going to be a mixed bag for Democrats and Republicans. But next up, we got the state of Arizona to characterize. I do think this one will go to the Democrat by a small margin. Kyrsten Sinema is likely going to run as an independent, which, according to polling, seems to be taking most of the votes away from the Republican candidate, which should help the Democratic candidate be able to win the election. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions, and don't forget to subscribe.